Coming back soon, read the truth in some ancient runes. Life, snakes and ladders if you're living for $1. Blue collar scholar won't stop a second for the comma. Do it for the art, for the soul, for the honor. Fuck it, may as well, one day I'll be a goner.
Alrighty, man, what's been going on?
Oh man, so much shit.
Yeah?
Every day, especially lately with this stuff.
Yeah,
for sure.
Straight into it. Fuck, man, this is a big moment for you.
Yeah, it is. It feels like one of the bigger moments of my life up until this point. You know, it represents a lot for me. Like a lot of my creative journey, personal, emotional, spiritual journey. It really is a climax point, you know, to bring together all the different things that have happened in my life, especially over this past year, coming and living back in Melbourne in Footscray. And, you know, as you know, I'm heading out of the country for over a year on a little expedition.
Yeah, we're going to get into that. That sounds fucking sick. Know, speaking of Melbourne, we are underneath the fucking beautiful West Gate.
Yeah.
It's like a work of art for our beautiful city sprawl.
It is. It really represents the west of Melbourne, you know, because it is kind of separated and it's kind of like its own bubble. You know, people who live in the inner west know that they kind of stay in the inner west. They don't branch out too much.
Suburbs,
and, you know, here it is.
What is the significance of Melbourne for you? What does it mean to you? The art scene, the culture, the music, hip hop or other.
For sure.
What is the significance, and how does that impact your music in the way that you write and you express yourself?
Well, Melbourne as a city is, you know, I think it's really representative of me and my style, because coming out of Australia, there's been so much a different kind of hip hop, you know, that I feel it just has its own flavour, and that's something I've always loved since I was a little kid, listening to Draft and Listen SO, Hilltop Hoods, Seth Century out of Frankston, Briggs out of Shepparton, and you know, I really think it's such a melting pot of diversity and style and culture, and you know, I really want to pay tribute to the original custodians of this land, the Aboriginal people who lived here, the number of different clans and tribes, but you know, such a beautiful land of spiritual dedication, creativity, survival, and to be connected with the land, I think, is the crux of being able to be an authentic artist and be authentic to yourself.
It's one of those places, like you know, they call it a melting pot, but it really is like just one of those places, and people should take more care of it, I reckon. All right, so this album, For Those Who Look Up, what does that mean?
Oh man, you know, this album is quite literally for those who look up, and that phrase is symbolic to me for precisely. That phrase is symbolic for me because it kind of just encapsulates people who are looking for a deeper understanding of life, you know, who wake up and look in the mirror and they're like, what the fuck's going on? What am I doing here? I don't, you know, people who can fathom the depth of life, you know, which is infinite. And this album's really a story of my journey from, you know, starting to realize the profundity of life and learning a lot of hard lessons, and then slowly piecing myself back together after getting broken down into rubble, and really having to build the foundations of who I am now. And that's really the start of it. Was you know, the first couple tracks are me talking about a lot of the existential pain I was going through a certain period over a year ago now, about two years, and it's almost a chronological progression of tracks about this journey that I've been on, from finding myself, if you will, but to really piecing together the values of who I want to be, the life I want to live, and realizing that I'm nothingness, and then realizing But in that nothingness, I am limitless.
Yeah.
And
Limitless.
so that's the
I'm
objective
fucking
of this
limitless.
album.
Yeah.
And to tell people that we out here, you know, there's people like us, and everyone's like us. You just gotta fucking open your mind.
They not like us, bro. They not like us. You know, but it's one of those things. That's deep, man. I'm excited for that shit.
So am I. I'm really excited to share it with these people that I care about, you know, who may not have heard all of the diversity of my tracks that they have to offer, but this album really is a pinnacle of my ability production-wise and artistically and creatively.
Yeah.
You know, and this is my best work. Just saying that straight away. This is all my best work, all my best tracks up until this point.
Well, let's go into it, because I'm a fucking nerd about the production shit. What was the production process and the writing process specifically? How long did it take? And how many tracks are on the album?
So there's 11 tracks on the album, and I decided to go with that number because I had a lot more tracks that I wanted to put on this album, and it's really sad that they're not going to make it.
Yeah.
You know, but there's a few that are quite deep and vulnerable that I don't know if I'm ready to share with the world yet, and I'm happy to let them go and move on to the next thing. So, you know, I wrote a lot of these tracks. Made these tracks over the past 2 years, written and recorded them at different times, mixed them at different times, and that in itself is representative of the journey that I'm going through. You know, I'm going back, mixing and mastering everything again to make it more consistent for the album, but it's it's been a massive process, and I've really had to at different times put a lot of time and effort into the production, because that's what takes up the bulk of the time.
It takes up the bulk.